we're gonna have a chance, Sip, to talk.
Yes.
I called you Sip, by the way. I didn't go with Steve this time.
That's fine.
To talk to a number of these recruits on Recruit Spotlight here on the HuskerOnline channel on Saturday, and we'll drop those on Saturday, Sunday over the weekend. But Brandon Baker back again, the number one offensive lineman in California, number one tackle in the country. Aiden Brayland, the number one defensive lineman in California, the number 6 overall defensive lineman in the country, will be here. Dylan Williams, one of the top linebackers in all of California from Long Beach Poly. Carter Nelson's back. Kamar Mathodi back here in town. You'll have a group of Texas guys here too. Peyton Morgan and Micah Sanya, Commit Gibson Pyle. We'll get a chance to talk to Kamir Prescott from Philadelphia. He'll be here on a Recruit Spotlight. So a number of guys that will be making their way up. We're going to get a chance to visit with 5 of these guys though this weekend here on Recruit Spotlight.
I mean, there's a lot of these guys I'm interested in. Aiden Brayland plays with Brandon Baker at Mater Dei. Aiden Brayland, I think you mentioned the number 6 defensive lineman in the 2024 cycle, according to the On3 industry rankings. Now he just got back from the Miami spring game. There's obviously, Sean, there's a ton of competition for these guys. I mean, let's put it this way. I'm just talking about one here, Aiden Brayland. Mario Cristobal offered Aiden Brayland when he was in the 8th grade. Cristobal was at Oregon at the time. Of course, now he's at Miami. But yeah, I mean, Dylan Williams is a big time recruit from Long Beach Poly at 25.5 tackles for loss last season. I mean, he had 25.5 tackles for loss
time program
in a season. In the last 2 seasons, he has 37 tackles for loss in a big time program, Long Beach Poly. Teams are all over him. I mean, so, they're here. That's
like this weekend with these guys coming up here. We'll look back at these names in like 4 years and see them on draft weekend.
You absolutely will.
Like when we're watching the draft in like 4 years from now, 5 years, whatever it will be, you're gonna be like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
I'd say those 3 guys we just mentioned have a great shot.
And I think Nebraska fans naturally are pessimistic a little bit about it all. Like, oh, these guys aren't really interested. I can tell you Brandon Baker is interested in Nebraska. Nate Frazier is. He's not in this weekend, but they've done a really good job, at least, of getting him there to spend time around the program. And the Baker interest is real. His brother, Gary, will be with him, Gary Baker Jr., and the mom and dad, Gary Baker Sr., as well as Francine Baker. So he'll have his whole family here again with him. And then he's going to come back for an official visit later in the summer or the regular season.
Sean, I just think if it's realistic at all to get these very high profile athletes, you got to take a swing. I mean, if it's realistic at all. No, yeah. I mean, when you talk about a kid like Dylan Williams, big long shot. I mean, he's already established his top 7. Nebraska's not in it. So you got to change his mind. I mean, you got to make a big impression late, like they did with Baker. I mean, when Brandon Baker came here the first go around, he probably wasn't all that serious about it. He got serious because he saw it and something clicked with him.
Well, think about Jacob Smith. We talked to him the first time before
Smith's a good example.
The visit even started.
Yeah.
Like he got in Thursday and we scheduled him for a Recruit Spotlight Thursday night. So we kind of were ahead of the visit, and you could tell, and he wasn't really feeling it yet.
Mm-hmm.
We talked to him now after 2 full visits, totally different tone.
Brought his mom with him last time. I mean, see, that's what you're hoping. And I think just the more high profile student athletes you get on your campus, the better. Even if the kid's a long shot, he'll go back to his school and talk about Nebraska. And maybe, just maybe, what he says will click with somebody else. So I'm all about, I'm very supportive of just getting these guys here. A lot of them are going to be long shots. And the other thing, Sean, I don't think we can drive this point home enough. Everything's getting sped up. You got to get them here in the spring.
Yeah, Nebraska. So Nebraska, chew on this stat for 2024. after the latest additions, there will be 40 players that have visited campus in March and April with scholarship offers.
40.
That's that's like 40 official visits.
Yeah, they're unofficial, but they're like
unofficial.
official.
So you kind of put it in those terms. You get 56 official visits a year. Well, they haven't used any yet, and they've already had 40 players come to campus with offers
on quote unquote unofficial visits. I mean, to put it in perspective, I told you, I was telling you the other day, there's one SEC coach, an assistant coach at a prominent SEC school that had 400 plus unofficial visitors during their 4-week spring period.
And obviously not all offer because there's no, but just different recruits. And
yeah,
Nebraska
400 plus.
I mean, we try to do our best to keep up with the numbers. And I mean, you think about April 22nd, we have 17 kids at the spring game locked in on our list. There's more that we're not, but then that March 25th weekend, Nebraska brought in well over 22 guys that we confirmed. So there's 40 guys. Just, I mean, and if you're not doing this, it's really tough. Mm-hmm. Like how are you building your class? And, what are you doing? And Nebraska's taking a swing at these guys. What's interesting is locally, they're not in it as well with some of these, Bellevue West players like Isaiah McMorris, Devon Hall, both wide receivers, both 4 stars now and on 3. Neither one is really, I mean, you don't feel good about Nebraska for either one of those guys. Daniel Kalen's going to Missouri, their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Caleb Pike from Omaha Central, you kind of wonder where that sits right now. Mm-hmm. They just got Ashton Murphy's commitment from Elkhorn South. Eric Ingwerson, the Papillion La Vista tight end, nephew of Timmy Green, our good friend. Remember Timmy and Mikey Green? He's committed to Pitt, but I think he'll be here for the spring game too this weekend. So we'll see if he shows up. So there's a lot there in-state wise. They got to get Carter Nelson though. And I like their chances with Carter Nelson.
Yeah, it's a battle. I mean, this is, Sean, you got to kind of zoom out in a lot of these discussions. I think we get a little bit myopic sometimes. Nebraska hasn't won in a long time. I mean, they haven't
been to a bowl in a long time.
Right. They haven't won big in a long time. I saw that stat near 3-2-1 today where Nebraska's since 2003, they've been in the top 5 1 week. In the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, Nebraska has been in the top 5 for 1 week. Now, Sean, zoom out. Why do you think they're having a little trouble recruiting, getting these guys from Bellevue West or wherever? That has an impact.
And the fans still demand that they recruit at the level that
when Frank was the coach. Right, Frank's coming back.
That
hasn't. There's an impact. All that losing has. Why do I even have to say that? It should be self-evident, right?
Well, you think about it's been 7 years since they've gone to a bowl.
2016. It was 2016. They went to the Music City Bowl and got.
Caden Vermoss was just in this chair. He's 16. Mm-hmm. He'd have been 9 years old the last time Nebraska played in a bowl game.
There you go.
Yeah. My daughter's 10.
Yeah.
She wouldn't remember that stuff,
right.
it
has an impact.